Good morning. Today is Sunday, June 15th, 2025, and this is the weekly Bitcoin price forecast. So, looking at where Bitcoin went in the last week and where it could potentially go in the future. We are pretty much in the same spot as we started in June. We've gone up, we've gone down, but not really anywhere overall. So, we're back at 105 where we started. I'm not too concerned about that. We are hitting, we've hit, new all time highs. This was in May. We hit that new all-time high. Haven't hit one just yet in June, but I do believe that we're going to start seeing new all-time highs as we go into June and into the end of June and July. So we'll just kind of see how that shakes out on the lower time frame. So not as much to talk about on the monthly chart. We did have two fantastic months with April and May, and then now we're seeing how June will shake out one way or another. So as we see, like this, actually for the last couple weeks, it's just been ranging, not really doing too much since we hit all-time highs. And this could be just really attempts to continue breaking towards like the top of that. So we could potentially see, really, I don't even think there's too much room for reversal. This is going to be a heavily contested area, as we'll see on the lower time frames. But it's expected that once you get towards all-time highs, you're going to start seeing like some type of resistance. So you saw like there was an attempt, you made the all-time highs, you shot down. And then you have one more, but this time I do believe that we are going to continue breaking on to the upside because there's just so much more on the horizon for Bitcoin and so many things opening up. But again, we'll look at the charts. We'll see what's actually what, and then we'll make that decision based off of that. So again, there's been this downtrend, and ever since then, there was that rocket shoot off that went on to the upside for several weeks. I think it was about 6 or 8 weeks that it just went straight up, and then you made a new all-time high. And now it's not unlikely that, hey, maybe you may see some type of retracement. But so far, this 100 area is holding pretty strong. It's been doing so for weeks. What you did actually do was break above this. I keep talking about this line. I call it the escape velocity line. It's the line that every market cycle hits at some point. Before it kind of, at this point, it rejected every single time. I don't think that's going to happen this time. I just really don't think that's going to happen. There's too many big players with money at stake. So you're not going to see like these 70, 80% drops anymore. I think the moves are going to be much more slow and controlled. And you're not going to see like these crazy drops like we have seen in the past. So I've been kind of sticking to that opinion for a while at this point that we're not going to see like this big multi-year bear market anymore. So like this has been from the end of 2021 all the way till, I'll say you kind of got out of it around this time. This is like the beginning of January, and then you took off, and then, it stalled and consolidated. People were making their decisions here, and then after that, it's just been off to the races. And things are getting more steep. So you see like this was flat here. This started to take an angle down. This was a much steeper angle down. And actually, I think we're probably about to break off the top of this channel and continue on to the upside. So we'll see how that works out. This isn't going to be an overnight thing, but for now, what I do see is that this support is holding pretty well. If we look at the daily chart, we see that it is in full-blown bull mode. So you've come down to this 50-day moving average, which has served tremendously to hold price up. So it's broken above this all-time high, broken above the escape velocity line, as I call it. It broke out of this area, came back, retested one more time, hit the moving average. And now I do think that we'll start to see some type of levity all the way up to, 120 or whatnot. So from here, 105 to 120, that's 15K. And I think you could see that move pretty quickly. A $15,000 move, it's not crazy for Bitcoin at all. So we'll take a look and kind of see what's on the horizon for the next several days and several weeks. But for now, I like the odds that we continue to go up because, again, we haven't been able to break this 50 moving average. I don't see a reason that we would just now suddenly break, even below the psychological level of 100K. Let's put that there. So 100,000. So 100,000, in my opinion, has now become serious support. It has become serious support at this point. So now you just have this area where it's protected below there, and it's below the moving averages at this point, so that makes it even stronger. 4-hour charts, not too much else to talk about. It's hitting this 200-day moving average, which also gives confidence that, hey, this thing is going to go back up. So you got the 200-day moving average, which is held pretty strong, 100 below it. This whole support area that hasn't been broken yet. This escape velocity line that I keep talking about, so it's retested that. I just think we're ready for an upward move. I really do think that we're ready for an up move. I'm actually a little bit more into day trading at this point, kind of getting back into it because I think we're going to see some incredible volatility across multiple assets. But Bitcoin looks pretty strong here. It looks pretty strong through and through, and I think we're gonna see some good things in the future. Not too much need to go anywhere below that. Another interesting thing, and we'll talk about it on the news this week, is this upcoming week is the policy rates for Japan and the U.S. dollar. So these are huge. Like these are big things that we're projecting. Right now, the forecast is that things will stay the same. I am of that opinion as well. That they'll probably just hold rates at this point. There's not a major catalyst for them to, but if there ever is a catalyst, we will see that happen pretty quickly to where on Tuesday and Wednesday, you should get these federal funds rates and the Bank of Japan policy rate that will be released. So, I mean, again, interest rates really move the world. That's the major handle for the money machine is how much does the money actually cost to print, or how much does it cost to create or borrow at that point? Really, it's the borrowing rate that is important. So 4.5% there. 5% here, well, 0.5% on Japan, which is projected. So if Japan hikes rates, which I think they should, and Powell cuts rates, well, then things are going to get interesting very quickly. They're going to start moving with extreme speed, and a lot of things are going to unwind. So we'll see. Like we will see how this ends up turning out. But this week should be somewhat interesting. You should see some good stuff out of Bitcoin. So what I'm looking at right now is the total Bitcoin exchange reserves. So how many Bitcoin are on all the reserves? So you can break it down here. Right now it's all exchanges, which will keep it. You can break it down by spot, derivative, big one like Coinbase is on here. All the different exchanges that they have are here. Maybe not all of them, but all the major ones that have a decent amount of Bitcoin. And so what I can see here is this goes all the way back to 2022. And the reason I think this is important is because, again, Bitcoin has a finite supply. So there's only so much that will ever be created. So this goes all the way back to June of 2022. So a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago. And now you just see it's really had this overall drop from, 3.5 million Bitcoin, 3.4 million Bitcoin in June 2022, all the way down to about 2.4. It is 2.45. Or basically 2.5 Bitcoin, 2.5 million Bitcoin on exchanges. So you see you had a couple different periods. You had this kind of slow ranging period here where it just really nobody was buying Bitcoin. Nobody was really selling Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin was just kind of quote unquote dead for a while. Not too much happened. But then you come here in 2024, you have the ETFs. They start to buy. Now they're not buying off of exchanges, but they're buying in the off the counter OTC markets generally, and those are where the bigger purchases happen so that exchange price does not swing too violently. That's just the reason that it happens. So they aren't buying there yet, but you see after the halving happened in April of 2024, somewhere around, it was the 19th or the 20th, somewhere in here, the halving happened. So now suddenly they're producing 450 Bitcoin a day. They're mining 450 Bitcoin a day versus the 900 that they were a day before the halving happened. 900 Bitcoin a day versus 450. That again, the halving, it gets cut in half. So there's now less Bitcoin being produced from this point. And now it just ends up coming down here. And now we just see the supply is falling off a cliff with no sign of turning around whatsoever. So what you have is, again, a decreasing production rate, which is your mining rate. You have a fixed supply. And suddenly now you have increasing demand from all over the world and all these companies and all these countries, and everybody and their mom wants to buy some Bitcoin now. So these major institutions are buying in. It's just like the hot thing to do right now is to have your Bitcoin. So we see this exchange rate going down in like 2.4 million versus like 3.4. That's a big drop. And I actually did the math here. I just kind of worked with ChatGPT. Like, what are the rates here? So again, if the halving happens, you assume that, all right, well, maybe the rate is being cut in half. So let's take a look here. basically, I mean, from this period, you have a summary. I'm not going to show you all the math and whatnot, but from June 2022 to June 2025, this is the overall rate. So this is your from here to here, and then the next period is going to be here from here. So this is your overall rate, and then this is your like current rate. So your overall rate is like people for the past 3 years, people have been taking Bitcoin for off exchanges at a rate of about 829 Bitcoin a day. Since July of last year, that rate has increased to 2,287 Bitcoin a day. So that is almost triple what the rate was, what the overall rate is. So that tells you that it has increased significantly. And since this is post halving, maybe you would assume that, hey, maybe the rate would double. But since I see that it's 2.76, all right, well, we're even faster than that. And I think it's going to continue to get faster until you hit like a rate of, 3x and whatnot of what the overall rate is. So like this increased rate is significant for sure. And the only thing I look at is like the overall projected depletion date. So what I see here is that people really have, there's probably going to be about a 3-year period here to where Bitcoin is available on exchanges. After that, it's going to be so scarce that, you're just not going to be able to get your hands on it. And what does that do to price? It absolutely is going to send it upwards. And that's just going to keep on going. So this is another reason that I don't think that we're going to have a bear market, is because now we're getting to the point where exchanges don't even have this stuff anymore. They can't find this stuff. So it's okay to look at previous cycles and make assumptions and whatnot, but you also have to shift in real time and kind of understand like, all right, well, just because this happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen again. I think we're just going to see a continued ramp up over time. And interest is not really going to wane in the same way that it did in the last cycle. So we'll see, but it just said my PC power is low. So I'll go ahead and cut this. This has been Chris Talks Crypto. Check out your crypto-based resources on christalkscrypto.com, and I will see you on the moon. Take care. Bye-bye.